Hello, everybody. Ed Rosenberg, and this evening I'm talking with CJ from Amazon Seller Lawyers. CJ, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Ed. Thank you for having me on again.
Okay, as always, it's a pleasure. Suspensions, what's going on?
All right, what's going on in suspensions is actually a lot of good news for sellers. When you're suspended, there really isn't good news, but at least the good news is that Amazon is now responding much faster to plans of action. You get the dreaded email, and everyone's life just stops, and their account stops, and they're afraid of their money being held for a long time. But as we're getting the plans of action out, we're seeing responses coming back in from Amazon much, much faster than they have over the past couple of months. So that's a good thing. They're responding much faster to plans of action.
Now, what are the responses saying? They need more information?
Months ago, the responses were always just generic, more information, more invoices, more receipts, elaborate more on your plan of action. What we're seeing now, and we believe it's coming from the seller performance teams in India, is that instead of sending generic documents asking blankly for more information, they're seeking specific information. So the follow-up emails from Amazon are much, much more specific, which means we can respond to them much, much faster, which is also leading to much faster reinstatements.
Right, which is because you know what to look for, in other words.
Yeah, instead of Amazon hiding the ball, their teams in Hyderabad and in Bangalore seem to be specifically asking for exactly what they are looking for. This mimics the inside information that we've been obtaining from people who were trained in India to work in the India offices, and everything's just happening much, much faster. Our success rate is high. The results are good. When they need more information, they're hiding the ball a lot less. And for sellers, that's really good news.
Yeah, you don't really get good news when you're talking about this topic, but I guess that's some good news. What exactly is happening with IP infringement? Anything change?
Yeah, the IP issues are changing also. On the downside, on the bad side, is that a lot of manufacturers, a lot of brands are being a lot more aggressive in actually making the complaints. So we've seen a tremendous uptick in the volume of intellectual property complaints, almost exclusively trademark and copyright. It's very rare a patent complaint. We're also seeing, though, as we are reaching out to the lawyers and the brand managers, they are withdrawing their complaints a lot faster than they used to. There's still a couple of defendants out there, a couple of manufacturers who are not responsive or responding slowly. There's one that's refusing to withdraw even when they know they're wrong. But for the most part, they're also withdrawing their complaints much faster than they have over the past few months.
So so you make an agreement with them that you're not going to list anymore, and then they send the email to Amazon, and 12 hours later you're normally back on, right?
That happens a lot, but our first line of attack is to show the people that made the complaint, to show the company that made the complaint, that there is no trademark violation, there is no copyright violation, because more often than not, the complaints are totally baseless. For example, if you're doing any retail arbitrage, and you're buying a product, a piece of clothing at the discount rack or at Marshall's or at some liquidator, and you're selling it in the same fashion, there is no trademark complaint. There is no copyright issue there. The complaints are baseless. And while the complaints are coming at a higher rate, they're also being withdrawn faster than we've ever seen.
The company they're not looking for a fight, in other words.
No, I think what they're looking for is for people simply to back down. But once they hear from a lawyer, once you stand up to them a bit, and they realize that they're wrong, they're withdrawing the complaints. No, not across the board, not everybody, but many of the complainants now, as soon as we write and we contact their brand manager or we contact their lawyer, the withdrawals are coming, very, very quickly. Within a day, sometimes within hours. There are others that are taking much longer, but across the board, they're happening faster.
What do you make of this when they send you an infringement suspension? And finally, you get them to withdraw the complaint. And then they say, oh, by the way, what's the story with the inauthentic?
Okay. I think we've talked about this before. The inauthentic it's a butchering of the English language. When Amazon sends you something about an inauthentic product, they're looking to see where you purchased it from. It's not that it's fake. It's not that it's counterfeit. Inauthentic just means they want to see your invoices. And the trend has been that Amazon is not accepting invoices from liquidators or Walmart.com or uh, garage sales or places where there's no invoices. If you're selling samples that you obtain from different types of shows, you want to make sure you get some type of invoice, or maybe keep yourself a detailed list that you can attach to the invoice. Because that's what inauthentic just means. They want to know where you purchased the products from. When it comes to the IP complaints, it all boils down to, is there a copyright infringement or is there a trademark infringement? And it doesn't really matter where you bought the products from. If you bought them and they are genuine, they're not fake, they're not counterfeit, those complainants are withdrawing their complaints, because when we point out to them they're wrong and that they're potentially liable for sellers' losses, they're withdrawing their complaints.
Retail arbitrage is really risky. I mean, more than it's ever been, in other words.
It is to draw the complaints, but most of it, the complaints are baseless.
Right.
So if you're good at retail arbitrage and you have a good eye for picking products that aren't selling in your locality, but that are selling very well on Amazon, or using one of the applications that lets you know how much a product is selling for, I don't see any reason not to go for it. It's a fair, legal way of making money. There is no copyright or trademark infringement by doing that. And I encourage sellers, if you have the eye for products, then go for it.
Right, but you never know when you're going to get suspended.
You never know. I think on Amazon across the board when you're going to get suspended. You know, one of the downsides of being on Amazon is there's no warning. They don't say, "Hey, stop doing this, or you're going to be suspended." You just get the dreaded email. On the other hand, if you're doing something that is entirely legitimate, if you do get suspended, your chances of reinstatement are just simply better.
Right, but nobody likes to go in with that strategy.
That is true.
If I get suspended, I'll get reinstated, right?
You know, it's kind of like remember the scene from The Godfather? This is the life we've chosen for ourselves. If you have chosen to access Amazon's 80 million customers, these are some of the business risks that you take.
It doesn't mean we don't have a right to network and try to make changes.
That's true. That is absolutely true. Private label is growing. Amazon is encouraging private label and discouraging retail arbitrage. The brand registry has become easier to use and a little more robust, and get a little more protection from people jumping onto your listings by doing it. So we encourage, if you can develop your own private label, I think it's great. There are a lot of products that you can get brand registered fairly easily, and there's a lot of manufacturers around the world that can build really anything you can think of, or even take an existing product and when you improve upon it, there's a lot of places to source that stuff out, and you can do really well with your own brand.
What do you think the people who say that Amazon is looking to corner every single market, every single item?
I think it's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
I can't think of a market that they are not known to either be in or investing in or investigating to go into. They're tremendous reach in all sorts of products, and even reaching to things that they use, like their own shipping. I mean, everyone saw the picture of their jet about a week ago, and at one point when they had a problem with the United States Postal Service, they bought their own fleet of trucks. Amazon is known to be going into like the t-shirt business with merchandise by Amazon, where anyone with an idea will eventually be able to upload that idea and have the t-shirt printed. And supposedly they bought, dozens of these, $500,000 machines, and they have football field size warehouses with the machines just waiting when they gear up to promote this business.
Wow. It's like you always got to keep, you can never, they don't want you being comfortable, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the reason they hide the ball so much is because they want all of you to be on your toes and uncomfortable all the time to keep your standards so high.
Right, like even when you get suspended, I like the way they say your selling privileges have been removed.
Right, it's not a right. It's not like you leased a store. They're giving you this privilege.
Right.
I got to tell you, when it comes to the privilege, the way they frame it, the way they phrase it, is a bit odd, because there have been cases in the law that are discussed that if you have a monopoly or something close to a monopoly, and you invite other people in to share it, you're not allowed to just summarily kick them out. So Amazon, I think, is walking that line a bit much. But yeah, the way they call it a privilege is funny.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're going to say that this is the deal, this is the agreement which you agreed to, that they're basically the final arbiter, they're the judge, and just what you agreed to.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. And my job is not to beat up Amazon, not to worry about that. My job is to get the sellers back online. So the most efficient way of doing that is generally to follow their rules, to give them the receipts, the invoices that they want, to get the IP complaints withdrawn, and to get you guys back online, back to selling. That's what we do day in and day out.
Right. Even as hard as it is not to get suspended, it's a lot easier not to get suspended than to get back.
It is. That's why you got to watch your own metrics. You must read your performance notifications every day, if not twice a day. Check that tab and see what notice you have there. Watch your metrics. If anyone needs a list of the metrics, I'm sure you have them, or we can send them to you. But it's much better to never get suspended than to have to call me. I'm like the doctor you'd ever want to need.
Right. Okay. All right, CJ, anything else you'd like to add before I go?
Let me check my list here. Let's see. We're happy. I mean, whenever you're suspended, it's not a good occasion, but the fact that they are responding, at least to our plans of action, faster is a good thing. The fact that they have changed their training of the people that are reading plans of action is really great. The people in India report to us that they're now training them to really just look for the particular issue. So no more sob stories, no more long explanations. Whatever the complaint is, address that complaint and in short, concise sentences, and give them the information. And I think that's a positive thing, because people have not known what to write, for years. So the trend now is that they tell you exactly what they're looking for, and that's what we give them.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And you were saying that even when they say that they may not respond anymore, untrue, right?
Yeah, totally untrue. The emails that say they may not respond, we have not had any cases where they have refused to respond at all. Zero. So that email, people think it's the end of the road. It's really not. Also, if you feel, or we feel, that the emails to seller performance are now falling on deaf ears, you can escalate that, to the policy teams, or even to the Jeff Bezos escalation, where they're supposed to start the whole analysis, fresh. I think there's a lot of opportunities to get accounts reinstated. I hope you don't need to be reinstated, but if you're doing it yourself, or you want someone else to help you with it, stick just to the issues that they're hitting you for. The old line of thought was that you should do a whole self-analysis of your entire account. The training in India is not what they're being taught to look for. They tell you what the problem is and address that problem.
Okay, CJ, that was very interesting and informative. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no thanks. Thank you very much, Eddie. Always great talking to you.
All right, thank you. Bye.